Hey there, in today's video we're going to talk about multiplying mixed numbers. So first thing I'm going to say before I get into the work is if you're not sure how to convert mixed numbers to improper fractions, you might want to go check out my video on improper fractions and mixed numbers first, because that's a very important part of this process. If you are ready, let's jump right into it. So we have 3 2/5 times 1 1/4 here. I cannot multiply these without first converting these into improper fractions. So I'm going to start right there with 3 2/5. So I'm going to take that 5 as my denominator. I'm going to multiply it times my 3 wholes. That gets me 15. That 15 is then going to get added to the 2 on the numerator part there. So that's 17. So 3 2/5 is going to be 17 fifths. Go Bills, Josh Allen. A little bit 17 there. All right, and then I'm going to keep multiplying. So now I got to do the same thing for 1 1/4. So we'll just repeat that process. So we got 4 times 1. That's 4. We're going to take that 4. We're going to add that to the 1 in the numerator. That's going to be 5. So this is 5 fourths. All right, so we have 17 fifths times 5 fourths. Now, from here, you really have two options you can go. You can just multiply straight across and solve it. I'll show that option first. So we're going to do 17 times 5. And then we're going to do 5 times 4. Now, what I always tell my students is if you can't do it in your head, you better write it out. 5 times 4, you should be able to do in your head. That's 20. But 17 times 5, I'm going to take a second to scratch that out underneath here. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 3 is 8, so this is 85 twentieths, which is a perfectly fine answer if you want to stay there. If you want to simplify it down, you could get down into, you could divide 85 by 5 and 20 by 5 and get a different answer here, and that's going to be your improper fraction. But we do want to actually, because the problem is written as mixed numbers, we want to convert this back to mixed numbers. So now I got to start thinking, okay, how many 20s go into 85? All right, so I'll just kind of count here. We got 20, 40, 60, 80. That's 4 20s, so that would be 4 would be my whole number. And if 80 is where 20 ends up, that means I have 5 left over, because 85 minus 80 is 5. So this would be 4 5/20. And then you could even go lower than that, because you should recognize that you can divide 5 and 20 by 5. So you would get something like 4. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 20 divided by 5 is 4, so you should get 4 1/4. Now, I did say that there were two options, so I'm going to show you a little something here that you can do as well. Now, a lot of people will confuse this with cross multiplication. It's not cross multiplication, be careful. This is cross simplification. So if I look back at my improper fractions here that I originally started this problem with, I recognize that these two 5s are the same number here. I can divide this by 5 and this by 5, and I can reduce those down to 1. So now when I go to do my multiplication, it's 17 times 1, and 1 times 4, that's 17 fourths. If I did this correctly, it should get me back to 4 1/4. Let's see if I did it. All right, so how many 4s fit into 17? Well, let's see. 4, 8, 12, 15, 16. And if I go any higher, I'm not going to get there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 4s, so that's 4. Right, so that's 4 4, 16. What's left over? 17 minus 16, that's 1/4. And look at that. We both end up at the right answer, 4 1/4. So the biggest thing for multiplying mixed numbers, you got to convert them to improper fractions first, but then you have a couple different options you can do from there. It always works to just multiply straight across and then get it back to a mixed number, but you can see a lot of steps in this process.